The first blow. Arrogance in fire. The galaxy already knew their name. The Korthak Legion, a war machine forged in blood, trained in fire, and crowned with 1,000 conquests. They were spoken of with trembling respect. Whole star systems paid tribute simply to avoid their gaze. Civilizations bent their knees before their fleets, knowing resistance was nothing more than suicide. And when they turned their eyes toward Earth's colonies, they came with laughter. The first strike was not even subtle. On the colony world of Halcyon, where families lived under twin suns and cities shone like beacons of human progress, the Korthak came not for negotiation, but spectacle. They descended in orbiting dread fortresses, unleashing firestorms across the colony's skies. Millions of civilians, miners, farmers, scientists, children, were reduced to ash in minutes. The invaders broadcast their slaughter to the galaxy, making the destruction a message. "Behold," their warlord declared, his voice echoing through every relay. "The fate of fragile Earth's spawn. Their worlds are ours to break, their fleets dust to scatter." The arrogance was chilling, casual. An envoy ship carrying survivors attempted surrender. The Korthak dragged its captain into open view, cut her throat before the cameras, and laughed as her blood darkened the floor. Halcyon was gone, and the galaxy believed Earth had just lost everything. Mockery and celebration in the aftermath. The galaxy's channels burned with Korthak boasts. They spoke of humanity as newborns among the stars, soft-skinned primitives who mistook mercy for strength. They mocked Earth's councils, predicting humans would appeal to law, to treaties, to diplomacy. At the feasting tables of the Legion, they roared with laughter. Their warlords raised goblets carved from the skulls of past enemies and toasted the inevitability of Earth's surrender. On neutral worlds, other species whispered agreement. Humans were skilled traders, explorers, thinkers. But they were not killers. They did not command the raw brutality needed to stand against the Korthak. The Legion saw themselves as untouchable, armored by fear itself. To them, Halcyon was not war. It was theater, and the galaxy believed the act was finished. But far away, on Earth itself, silence reigned. The stillness. Before the storm, Earth did not broadcast threats. No fiery speeches. No dramatic vows of vengeance. The comm channels carried nothing but silence. The galaxy interpreted it as fear, hesitation, perhaps even surrender. But those who watched closely felt something else. The weight of a blade being drawn slowly, quietly, without ceremony. Beneath that silence, something vast stirred. Signals pulsed through hidden relays buried in forgotten asteroid fields. Massive hangars deep within Earth's crust shuddered as titanic machines awoke. Old codes were whispered. Codes that had not been spoken since humanity's darkest wars on its homeworld. The Korthak expected words. Instead, they were met with movements no one could mistake. Earth's true weapon was not speeches. It was patience ending, and when humanity moved, it was as if the void itself trembled. The silence breaks. The first sign came on the edge of Korthak space. A listening post, long thought untouchable, picked up a sound that had not been heard in centuries. The low, resonant thrum of Earth's dreadnoughts powering their drives. One transmission cut across the galaxy, cold and merciless. "This is Earth. The debt will be paid in full." Then, a wave of human fleets erupted into the void. They did not come as raiding parties or defensive patrols. They came as storms of iron and fire, battle groups spanning hundreds of ships, carriers large enough to blot out the stars, dreadnoughts whose weapons could tear open moons. They advanced without banter, without flourish. Where the Korthak had made theater, humanity answered with inevitability. The galaxy watched in disbelief. They had thought Earth would beg. Instead, Earth had risen with a vengeance beyond imagining. The Iron Tempest, the first clash, shattered illusions. The Korthak had assembled a fleet of conquest, 1,000 warships forged for dominance. They waited at the border world of Dravos, confident that humanity's puny response would crumble before them. But what came was no mere response. Human dreadnoughts fell upon them like predators unchained. Their cannons carved through Korthak shields as if they were paper. Planet-killer torpedoes vaporized entire battle lines in single strikes. Where Korthak fleets relied on terror, humanity wielded precision, discipline, and technology honed not for conquest, but survival. In less than 6 hours, the Legion's fleet was annihilated. Dravos burned not with human colonies, but with Korthak wreckage drifting lifeless into its atmosphere, and Earth's forces did not stop. They pressed forward, inexorable, relentless. The wrath of Earth. The campaign that followed became legend. Human fleets advanced system by system, tearing through Korthak strongholds with a ferocity that stunned even their allies. Armies landed on fortress worlds like storms, their armored divisions moving with chilling coordination. Cities that had stood for centuries crumbled under the weight of orbital bombardments. Warlords who once mocked humanity were dragged in chains through their own capitals, their boasts silenced forever. But humanity was not cruel for pleasure. They were precise. They struck only where the Legion's power grew, crushing the heart of the beast. Civilians were spared where possible. Corridors of escape carved open even as the Korthak elite screamed defiance. It was not just victory. It was retribution. Cold, deliberate, unstoppable. The galaxy had seen brutality before, but never this. Vengeance delivered with surgical inevitability. The climax. Annihilation made absolute. The final stand of the Korthak Legion came at their throne world. They had gathered everything left. 20,000 warships, legions of soldiers, planetary defense grids spanning continents. They were certain, if not of victory, then of dragging humanity into a bloodbath that would stall their advance. What arrived was beyond their darkest fears. Human fleets surrounded the system with mathematical precision, blotting out its suns with the sheer scale of their armada. The sky itself became a curtain of metal and fire. When the first human bombardments began, the planet's crust shook. Mountains cracked, oceans boiled, and defense lines crumbled in hours. The Korthak fought savagely, their warriors throwing themselves into hopeless resistance. But every charge, every stand, every desperate scream was drowned beneath humanity's relentless advance. And then came the soldiers. Human boots thundered across the throne world, armored figures moving like inevitability itself. They did not stop until the Korthak warlord, once the galaxy's most feared conqueror, was dragged from his shattered palace and laid broken before the fleets of Earth. The Legion was over. Not defeated. Obliterated. Aftermath. Whispers in the dark. When it was done, silence fell again. Human fleets did not boast. They did not parade their victory across the stars. They simply withdrew, leaving only ruins where the Legion had once ruled. On neutral worlds, survivors whispered in terror. The galaxy, once entertained by the Korthak's cruelty, now spoke with dread about the humans. They remembered the silence before Earth's strike. They remembered the voice that had declared the debt would be paid, and they understood the truth. Earth did not seek war. They did not revel in blood, but to harm their people, to slaughter their colonies, to mock their patience. That was to awaken something the galaxy had not known before. The Korthak had believed themselves the most feared force in the galaxy. But fear had always been an illusion. The true weapon was not the Legion. It was Earth, and now, across the stars, a single warning was whispered, passed in hushed voices from one civilization to the next. Never provoke Earth again.